everyone. Welcome to Transpotting. I'm your host, Marcia Darling.
And I'm Celeste.
And I am Shrimp Taco Daniels. Sorry, that
What?
just popped in my brain.
What does that mean?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I did take a tiny piece of an edible before this show because I'm so autistically overwhelmed today that it's the only thing that calms me down. So it's gonna
I am
be
Shrimp
weird.
Taco
Okay,
Smith.
so what is your name again? I forgot.
All right, has anyone else seen Game Changer?
No.
No.
By the okay, so it's a show on the network called Dropout.tv. So if you've watched anything like Dimension 20s, D&D,
Oh, yeah.
Live
My
Plays,
roommate's into that.
yeah, it's the umbrella company that does those. Anyway, there was a sketch where they had someone say the name Shrimp Taco Daniels, and I found it quite hilarious. Anyway,
And now you've become the Shrimp
intro.
Taco Daniels.
Now I have. Anyway, welcome to Transpotting. This is Riv.
And after that lengthy explanation, the end. Thank you for joining us for our podcast. You can find me at Ono Marcia on Instagram, message on Twitter. You can follow Celeste and Riv, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Right. Good game.
Good game.
GG.
The best part of playing baseball is slapping everybody on the butt after the game.
Are you doing it after the game?
Or during.
Yeah, there you go.
I've not played baseball since T-ball, so that didn't happen in T-ball, so I guess every baseball I would play now is T-ball, isn't it?
I was going to make that same joke.
Hey!
I'm really excited that the weather's starting up because we're going to start doing gay baseball again here pretty soon. And that's like my favorite seasonal activity my queer friend group does.
Is that just gaysball then?
Gaysball.
Gaysball.
It's gay baseball. It's where you get a bunch of gay people together and then they try to play baseball and are very bad at it.
Isn't that just baseball, though?
Baseball, yes, but specifically, we're very proud of the fact that it's gay.
Okay. That's different.
So out of the closet, gaysball is what we're saying.
Out of the closet.
Yeah.
Out of the closet, gaysball.
I will definitely be throwing balls like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's gonna go.
Oh, I can throw some balls.
Sling some balls. Okay.
That's what they call me.
The stress ball in your hand.
Can you stick your mitt and catch them? Catch them in the palm of your hand. And then throw it to the first base. What are you talking about? I'm talking about baseball.
I don't think we're in innuendo territory anymore. I think we moved back from that to regular baseball.
Sorry.
Baseball.
Gaysball.
So, do we want to talk about misogyny and transmisogyny?
I thought we wanted to have the intro again.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to the intro.
So the intro is just rambles, like all the best podcasts do, where they start and then it's just derailment for a little while.
It is derailment.
Except we don't get derailed.
We're all derailment.
It's all derailed.
All derailment. But we can even throw out the oops. It's intentional at this point.
It's okay. Let me get out my script. This is all very planned, especially the derailments. Okay. It looks like I'm going to talk about an event, and then Riv will interrupt with a fun anecdote, and Celeste will have something cool to add to that.
Okay, no, but this
so
is really
that's what it says in the script.
We call that a formula, okay? Okay.
Don't mess with the formula.
Don't mess with the formula.
Give people what they're looking for.
People what they want.
Yeah.
Which is apparently, according to Celeste, slinging balls.
Slinging balls. I got you.
Dear.
I got you, listeners. I got you.
Yeah.
Dear listeners,
Celeste is for the people.
We do not apologize for effects consuming our content may have on your psyche.
Yeah.
It's healthy. If you endure it long enough.
What?
What is happening?
What?
Uh,
Oh yeah, so misogyny.
yeah. What were your
I'm gonna
thoughts
say
about that?
I'm gonna say it's bad. It's not
How do you
good.
feel about misogyny? Hot take.
Hot take.
It's okay sometimes. No, I'm kidding.
Jesus.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You can send
Misogyny.
that email
When it's practiced correctly.
to
Once you get your license, it's okay.
misogyny was my mother.
Oh,
That's a bad pun.
it's nice to meet you, Ajani.
Yeah, there you go.
Ajani. That sounds kind of French.
Misogyny.
That's actually it sounds kind of nice.
Tip the hat.
Yeah, it's
Misogyny.
kind of- Misogyny.
Yeah,
Okay. Um.
and we started the Giggle
Content.
Fest already.
Oh dear. Too early for a giggle fest.
Oh.
By the way,
okay.
Ash wanted to come in and say hi to everyone, but
Hi.
they don't feel well today, so they're not going to do
Aw.
it this session. They'll do it next recording session.
I'd like to meet them.
Yeah, they're like, would it be okay if I came in and met your friends? I was like, yeah,
Yes.
They
Of
want to meet you,
course.
yeah. But
Yeah.
they don't feel well today, so
That's too bad.
yeah.
When did we
Sometimes
talk
hormones
about
react.
that?
Talk about what?
Oh, yes. So, as a topic, misogyny and transmisogyny.
Oh yeah,
That was one that you were interested in talking about, and I was too.
wonderful.
What did you have in mind to talk about that?
Okay, I'll give you a topic.
Okay,
A
give me a
topic.
topic.
Give you a topic, misogyny. I'll give you a subtopic.
Give it to
affects-
me.
How does it affect everyone, not just the classic assumption it affects feminine people? How
Right.
does it negatively impact everyone?
Mm-hmm. I think
Well,
first off, let's
good
define
stuff.
misogyny and transmisogyny and how we're
I'm
using it.
Getting ahead of myself again, aren't I? Yep, let's do it.
Okay?
Yep.
What does misogyny look like to you?
I'm going to let Celeste go first while I take a sip.
That was a handoff I was not expecting.
Yeah. We got to think critically on the fly, apparently. It's like homework.
Homework. I was
this
never good.
podcast
I
is
always
turning
did
to homework.
I always did homework like the morning it was due. So like,
Same girl.
yeah. Okay, so what does misogyny look like? You know, I'm not a good starter here. I can add.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to start for you.
All right. I'll start.
I can start
Yeah.
if you want me to.
Do you
I think-
already have thoughts on the? Oh, well, this my voice all of a sudden. Hold on.
Misogyny encompasses all forms of hatred towards women, and so that can manifest implicitly or explicitly through the biases that people have and the biases that the institutions take on and the laws that are formed. So that would be like a form of no-fault divorce. If something like that wouldn't exist, that would be an example of institutionalized misogyny because it would not be giving women the right to be able to end a marriage when they felt that it was necessary. The denying of people gender-affirming care or abortion is also a form of institutionalized misogyny. Misogyny can be practiced by individuals, and they'll treat other people in misogynistic ways. It's usually rooted in, deeply patriarchal, societal, and religious beliefs in some form or another. Yeah. And so, yeah, it can be anything from overt acts of violence and discrimination to more subtle and insidious ways of like how women, for example, don't make as much on average as men do. Yeah, so I would say that that's misogyny. Transmisogyny is all of that, and then also applied to trans women or trans men too, or anybody who's gender nonconforming or non-binary. And a lot of times transmisogyny comes from the ideas that people are more frustrated. People believe that men and women need to stay in their lanes, stay in their places, that there's no difference between one or the others. Again, that's something that comes from patriarchy and institutionalized, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, cishet privilege, basically, is where it comes from. Yeah.
Yes.
And so, but transmisogyny can, and the thing that's interesting about misogyny and transmisogyny is that a lot of times people who practice it, it ends up having profound negative effects on them as well. Or even people who are men can still be hurt from misogyny because it's teaching them that maybe women are less valuable than they are.
Yes.
And that can cause problems. And so anyway, I think that that's a pretty good basic definition. I may have gone off a little bit too long.
I appreciate it. That was a really good, like, full definition.
That was locked and loaded in. Yeah.
That was. You had that dialed in perfectly.
Have either of you noticed more misogyny in your life post-transition?
Oh God, yes.
Can you tell me a story or two?
It can be, so I was pre-transition, I was a bank teller, and I had been a bank teller for about 4 years, and I started transitioning, and then I was just I was not out at work at that point. About 3 to 4 months into like hormones and all of that, I decided, yep, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't pretend to be a boy at work. So I quit my job there, and I got a job as a bank teller at a different bank. I just needed to start all over, but I was doing the same exact thing. And so it was something I'd been doing for 4 years at that point, and I was doing it well. I was at like the highest level you could get without becoming a manager at my previous bank. So I knew what I was talking about when I would talk about these things. And then I started this new bank, and both my fellow employees who knew that I was new there, but also knew that I had lots of experience in the field, as well as just customers, think that I was just a bumbling idiot, and they would try to explain to me how banking works. And that was
Got to do a little bit of mansplaining to the new girl.
Yeah. You gotta love
lots
the mansplaining. Oh wow!
And it's just, it was unreal, just the different type of treatment I would get. It would like split into two sections. They would either be super nice and super sweet in a way that never happened before, or they would be really aggressive about it, and just no matter what came out of my mouth, it was wrong, and they had to correct me on it.
That's that form of misogyny where it's like women are expected to be idiots.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I hate that so much.
Like, yep, I'm just a little bimbo at work. You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know anything, mister.
You're a bimbo, just not at work.
Not at work.
Professional bimbo. That's what they call
I do be girl bossing.
Girl bossing.
Just don't gatekeep as well.
Yeah. I'll gatekeep some.
Yeah.
I had an instance one time when I was queuing for a ride with some of my friends, and one of the people in the line with us, we were just kind of chatting, and I made a joke about, oh, it's really cold out here, but not as cold as my dead heart. And then he giggled. He was like this older man. He giggled and touched my arm and was like, well, you're a woman, so you can't help that. And I was like, what the heck?
Excuse you?
Excuse you? Like, that was a joke. And then also, what?
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 Oh, hysterical women. What are we gonna do with them?
Mm-hmm.
They're just out there being hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do anything with them.
Yep.
Do you know where the term hysterical came from?
I read this somewhere, but my brain does not pull up the definition of this.
So, like when you get a hysterectomy is when your uterus is taken out. So a hysterical is actually a misogynistic term because it came from the idea that people with wombs would get this condition called hysteria where they just couldn't be reasoned with.
Yeah.
And they would need like...
that's something that happens to me weekly at least.
Yeah.
Mine's more often than weekly. So.
I'm aware.
Ooh,
Oh,
I'm kidding. I
I'm
love you, Celeste.
wounded. I mean, you're not. You're right.
If I'm being honest with myself, it's definitely more frequently for me too.
Yeah.
It's because we live in, wonderful capitalism.
we live in a
That's
society.
why we're all sad. Don't
That
hate
is.
me.
In a society.
Well, that's why I like kids, because they haven't realized it's a society yet.
Oh.
They're too
Oh,
pure for the
goodness.
world.
They're too
pure.
loud for the world, too.
Yeah.
Celeste, do you mind if I compare and contrast my experiences with misogyny?
Please do.
Please do.
A la transition. So before transition, obviously wasn't really encountering it in my daily life, and I would like to think of myself as a feminist back in the day even. I don't think I did enough to be actively like anti-misogyny, but I did my best to call it out when I saw it. But there's not that much you can really do within the system where if you bring it to someone's attention, they're not going to do anything about it, even if you appear to be a man at the time. So it's difficult to even fight against it within, like, behind enemy lines. Yeah, I had a hard time with that. I tried calling the shit out at work all the time at like a very popular fruit technology company I used to work for. And in their repair rooms, there was quite a bit of that happening. Try to call it out and it goes nowhere. And then I transitioned and found out, oh my God, it's so much worse on the other side.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All the things that you were like a bystander before now are deeply affecting you personally.
Well, and, there's not only, we'll get into transmisogyny later, but there's not only like microaggressions for transphobia and transmisogyny, there's microaggressions for regular misogyny that you pick up on very quickly that you don't pick up on before you transition. And, I get this shit all the time of you should smile more. You should take the compliment when it's, borderline sexual harassment. I started.
Do you ever get the, it's just a compliment? Blah.
Yeah, I get that pretty frequently. You learn to pick and choose your battles, but it really started getting bad when I was about a year and a half into transition, maybe a little bit earlier. Started to actually pass-ish and look pretty at that point. And or look pretty to, I should say, to some people.
No, you can just say look pretty. That's fine.
That's fine. We all look back at our photos and are just like cringe, but we shouldn't cringe because it's a beautiful process. Anyway,
it is.
I was cringing at those old photos of me.
All my old pictures go into a cringe folder. It's true, but I keep them.
A cringe folder. It lives in my brain, the cringe folder. But yeah, at work, I started to really experience people talking over me pretty consistently, or repeating the exact same thing I just said, but in a slightly different way, and then they get listened to. So all of the classics, right? We're hitting the greatest hits here. And when I ended up getting promoted, it was deeply, deeply below the actually average standard for that position on the market. That did not go unnoticed by me. And all of the really obvious ones, and of course all of the little microaggressions every day that you go through, and that I feel like in that first 6 months, I was really acutely aware of these things happening, and I would try to fight against them, and I'd complain about them quite frequently to one of my friends who is a cis woman. And unfortunately, we both kind of came to the conclusion of it's just going to keep happening. So I have to learn to pick my battles and decide whether I'm going to let it bother me or not. And I'm like, that is the reality, but it fucking sucks. It sucks. It does not feel good walking to work. I don't walk to work, driving to work every day and knowing I'm going to have some kind of interaction like that. And that's even at a company that I think does a better job than most
Mm-hmm.
at having that equality and diversity and equity and all that stuff.
I've definitely noticed just in everyday interactions, it's harder for me to get people's attention. Like with what I'm saying. People,
or at least,
people tend
attention
to
with
pay
your
less
words.
attention to you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've noticed that too. People will, even like during regular transactions, I have more of like dudes just like looking down, not talking to me. It's either that's the one end of the spectrum, or then there's the like dude flirting with me who probably shouldn't be flirting in this particular way with me.
Mm-hmm.
While before we said transaction, I'm just like, I don't like either of them. Can I have a middle option, please, of just a regular human?
Can I have just a normal human interaction,
yes,
please?
just a normal
That would
one.
be great.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Going off what you said, Marcia, I feel like I get more attention now than I did before, just like in public, but not for anything that I actually say. It's just I get more eyes on me, but I get less ears on me if I like say something, or like walking down an aisle at a grocery store and people used to like just, I don't know, it's like they intentionally stand in your way and like I have to be the one that goes around somebody every time.
Yeah,
And
that's weird, isn't it?
it's weird. Like I used
point.
to take up space, and like I was always a small looking dude, so I was never intimidating, but people would just veer off from you. Whereas now, like,
They expect you to get out of the
they
way.
expect me to get out of the way.
Yeah, I've noticed that
I've been,
too.
Like, pushed by carts and stuff. Yeah, I've been like physically pushed by carts, and people just don't look at you, and they're just like, you're just there to move, essentially.
Yeah,
it's wild.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It's one of those things that is a specifically trans experience, going from not experiencing that to experiencing that every day.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, like, on the one hand, it's great because, yay, I'm passing. On the other, it's like, this is normal? What the fuck?
It's extra jarring because, at least for me, and like this, like, I've been doing this a year and a half now. I've been out in public for less than that. And it's a really weird, like, sudden change of like I could tell when I stopped getting clocked as often just by how people would interact with me. Bizarre. Something I'm very thankful for, though. You were talking about just job issues for my unnamed job. I'm really glad. Almost my entire team is girls. My boss is a girl. My boss's boss is a girl. My boss's boss's boss is a girl. And like it goes way up that way. And they're all pretty chill with just about everything. I've not noticed a single shred of anything, and I've been there a couple months now.
That's really nice.
It's very nice. So
that makes me happy.
Good job. Good job, corporation. Good job.
I'm the only girl at my place that isn't part-time. So that's interesting. But they're mostly good.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Marcia? Any tales of woe from the misogyny land, whether it's in the workplace or otherwise?
I'm trying to think of some others. Most of mine have been mainly from like strangers or people who I don't work with. Or, just kind of random passing person you're talking to on the line or things like that. Right. Because I'm very, very specific about the kind of people that I actually spend time with or associate with. Because on the one, I live in a red state. Like, it's a blue part of the red state, but it still is a red state. And there's a lot of people who are transmisogynistic or just straight up transphobic around here. Mm-hmm. So during regular day-to-day hours, I try not to stand out particularly too much because I have been the target of violence and harassment, and I try not to put myself in those situations. There was a time where I was walking home from New Year's Eve and somebody just started screaming at me And it was really, really scary, calling me slurs, telling me to go commit violence of acts on myself and things.
Mhm.
And since then, I haven't felt safe walking home alone after night. And it's like, okay, that's a pretty extreme form of misogyny that I'm facing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds really scary. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have experienced misogyny and
So yeah, I would say
transmisogyny.
yes. Has anyone else had the whole like people either shouting at you or following you? Because I've definitely had people following me before,
Mhm.
and that's scary as hell. Like I empathize greatly, Marcia. I didn't get shouted at, thankfully, but definitely had some creepy follows in parking lots in the dark.
I think that guy would
Yeah,
have followed
same here.
me, but there was enough
Yeah.
people around to kind of de-escalate the situation that nothing bad happened, but
Yeah.
it was still scary.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm just walking by. Aw.
Just doing your thing.
Just doing
People
my
are
thing.
wild.
Using
I
your
People are wild.
legs.
used to just walk around by myself at night, just because I felt like it.
Same.
And I don't really feel like that anymore. I don't feel safe doing that.
Back when I lived in Tennessee, I was tentative of even doing that during the day. Just it was an uncomfortable thing to do. Just because even in Tennessee, you didn't really even see cis girls walking around by themselves. So you're
Mhm.
able to just kind of tell the comfort of the population based on just paying attention to that kind of thing. Where I'm at now, I see cis girls walking, jogging, running by themselves all the time. And so it's just a at least somewhat safer environment for
Mhm.
that. And it's also just more populated where I'm at now that compared to where I used to be. It was pretty rural, where this is city-ish.
Sure.
I'd like to get to a city like that someday. Probably.
Come to Vermont.
Yeah?
Yeah. Legit though. It's super nice.
Yeah? I've been thinking about Seattle because I have a friend up there who I would room it with.
Mm-hmm.
Who just moved over there.
Yeah. It's my neck of the woods.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous place.
Seattle does make me very anxious, though, as an anxious person trying to navigate the city.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
I
a
get
good
that.
time for road.
Yeah.
Is it just cities in
like
general?
to drive, but I do drive the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cities that I'm not well acquainted with.
Mm.
I don't get up there enough to know it like I would know like Portland or something back in the day.
I understand that. Big cities stress me out quite a bit. Like I've walked through like Boston and Chicago, and those places stress me out. It's too much. It's too much. I like city, but that's too much city.
So I was raised to be a farm girl, right? But I was always a city girl at heart. And so every time that we would go visit the city, you know how other people, when they're like, you go out to the woods and everyone's like, wow, trees, this is so amazing and so beautiful. I would be like, wow, buildings, wow, skyscrapers.
Here.
This is amazing. And just have stars in my eyes that there was so much around and so many buildings and people. And then we'd go back to the ranch and I wouldn't see anybody for weeks.
That's adorable.
Oh,
yeah. Cities are just overstimulating to me. There's like too much for me to look at and hear and pay attention to. But I don't like the middle of nowhere either.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
middle of nowhere has its perks. You can yodel as loud as you want.
I'm not a yodeler, so like.
So you'd learn.
You're missing out.
So what I do miss though is I used to suntan in my backyard in a bikini, and that was comfortable because it was fairly rural.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a yard where I'm at now, but even if I did have a yard right here, I probably wouldn't. There's a lot of people around.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah.
But that sounds fun. I want to go sunbathe in a bikini.
That's
I miss it so
my dream
much.
this year. It's the first year I'm going to wear a bikini.
And sunbathe?
I'm going to sunbathe in the backyard.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
We don't have a fence, and the neighbors, I think, have forgotten that I am trans. Because they're like, last time that they saw me during like a block party or something, and I introduced myself as my partner and I as the friendly neighborhood lesbians. They're like, oh yeah, you moved in here like a year ago, right? And I'm like, no, I moved in like 5 years ago. And they're just like, what? Because it clicked for me like the first time they saw me and like acknowledged like, oh, this is a woman. Okay. Yeah, they probably think I replaced him.
Yeah,
that's cute. Actually,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I would be fine with that.
Yeah, but anyway, I feel
we kicked him out.
Exactly, we really did.
He had some growth.
Some growth.
What I've said to people when I've
some
changed
growth
my
to do
name with like different accounts on the phone is I'm not going to change the name on this, and they're like, "What happened?" I'm like, "He is no longer with us." Oh, I'm so sorry. It's okay. We've processed it. We've moved on. It'll be fine. But long story short, that's why I feel somewhat safe-ish, probably in the backyard, my bikini without a fence.
In your bikini, yeah.
In my bikini, I have multiple bikinis. I've never worn any of them.
One of my friends owns a house, and she's trans, but she's on such good terms with all of her neighbors that it wouldn't be a problem.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a good place to be. That's the kind of neighbor I'd like.
Yeah.
What are some ways that our allies could help fight misogyny?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Call it out when you see it. I think one of the like most mind-blowing parts about like learning about misogyny and transmisogyny is when I was reading Julie Serrano's book Whipping Girl.
Oh, that's a good one.
That book.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. But one of the points she makes, it's been like a year and a half since I've read it. I will probably misquote it a little bit, but one of the base ideas she set in one of the chapters is misogyny often comes from masculine things as well. So because a woman is this, a man must be this. So it's the idea of opposites, and that's what causes it. So
that idea of women are emotional, so men cannot be emotional.
Exactly.
Also enforcing that goddamn binary.
Yeah. And so a lot of it comes from that. So it's not just calling out when you see a woman being discriminated against because of her gender, but it's also just calling out those moments of when guys are being put into the box of what a guy is supposed to be, because we all think of, not we all, but culture thinks of men and women as opposites, not different, but as opposites. So they have to be counter to each other. And so it's calling out both sides of that when you're trying to enforce that gender box on people.
The gender box. Two enter, one leaves. That's a great call out, though. Yeah, I can definitely think of times when I was a child and I was being bullied for being too feminine, and because it's not what boys do. Boys don't behave that way. And I would definitely argue that that is a result of misogyny by creating the attitude that these little boys are trying to, utilize and enforce a gender binary of some kinds on someone they perceive to be different.
Exactly. I was called gay many times.
Oh, yeah.
As a kid. And like, I didn't have attraction to boys back then, but it was just by my characteristics and my personality and how I presented myself to the world. It was like, oh, you have to be gay, aren't you? And I'm like, I don't think so. Like,
I feel like everybody...
I would question myself so hard. Yeah. I'm like, shit, am I gay? I don't like boys.
You
so, like...
are.
Yes, I am.
It's that meme.
It's a more complicated.
Hey, I'm you from the future. Guess what? You're gay, but I like boys. Exactly.
Exactly.
I was going to say, lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, I derailed a bit.
Choo-choo.
My being.
Here comes back into the
I
tunnel.
feel like everybody else figured out I was gay before I did. Like, you know, people sometimes have that gaydar that goes off. I know it was always going off for me.
Mm-hmm.
I will
Congrats.
say something too, especially to combat transmisogyny. If a woman is speaking and somebody interrupts her, interrupt the interrupter and say, I want to hear what she has to say.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one, especially if you're in a position of leadership.
Mhm.
Somebody starts to say something, you let them finish. Or you specifically call out and make that a safe space for them to continue talking so that they won't be interrupted. Like, that's a big thing. A big part of misogyny is just not giving women a voice. So, when you can, you give them a voice. And you let them use their voices.
That is a huge one. I would say from a different angle of what allies can do to combat misogyny, do the work on yourself. You know, listen to women's experiences, to everyone's experiences, and internalize that and say, what things do I do that contribute to this? Or what things can I what habits can I change? How do I interact with people around me? How do I make them feel? And honestly, if you have friends who are feminine or are experiencing ill effects of misogyny, and they feel comfortable enough with you, you could ask them these questions and learn from them, as long as they're willing to talk about it. Obviously,
Of course.
consent is key. But a lot of the folks I've brought these things up to have opened up pretty easily. Oh yeah, that happens. These are literally all the things I deal with every single day, and they matched up with mine. I was like, okay, thanks for your time.
Okay, it's a real problem. It's systemic.
Yeah, it's systemic. I tried bringing it up to a leader at my company. It was within the first couple times I experienced it. I was like, it's just a nightmare dealing with misogyny in the workplace. And he's like, who did that? Who did that to you? I'm like, no, it's systemic. And he's like, oh, we don't do that here. I'm like, I'm sorry to tell you that, but it doesn't matter if you think you don't. It's happening, and you can't really.
We're not sexist. I have women friends.
It's one of those things, right?
Excuse you, I'm married to a woman.
Yeah,
I can't be sexist.
I think I would know if I were sexist. Thank you very much. If I were misogynistic. Yeah. But you know, if someone comes up to you and tells you their experience like that, don't just steamroll it. Listen, internalize that. Listen to their point of view, because it is different than yours. And experiences and points of views are not universal. Okay, I did a soapbox thing again. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Yay, we have a soapbox. Yay.
There you go. We need like a little soapbox corner ragtime music.
We'll just put the
intro.
logo up. On the podcast, the audio podcast. We'll put the logo. Hi, puppy.
Oh, who is this?
Bilbo had to come say hello.
Oh my God, I love him.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone,
Thank you.
There's a very cute wiener dog puppy. I'm assuming a puppy, but they are adorable. Has entered
He
the frame
turned
of Celeste's
4.
camera.
We should have
2 weeks ago.
We should have a section on the Discord just for pet photos.
That's a great idea.
God,
How do we not have that? Animal photos. Oh my God. Yes.
Let's make it happen.
Okay. What should we call it?
Are you gonna do it right now?
Doing it live.
We're doing it live. Pet.
Doing it
Doing
live.
it live.
But for everyone else, it'll be like, oh, this happened a fucking week ago. Why are you talking about this?
Well, they have to join the Discord so they can see all of your cute pet photos.
Yes.
Pet photo pen.
But it's only available if you join our Patreon.
We'll have to set up the Patreon first.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Let's
Skipping
see.
a couple steps.
How long have we been recording for?
57, almost 58 minutes.
Do we want to do closing statements?
Unless you want to talk more.
We can talk more.
I was going to ask maybe, I don't know if you're done with your labeling of the server channel.
I did. I'm done.
Yeah, it's there.
Ooh,
It's there.
nice.
I checked.
You
My
have to
Discord's
post a
currently
picture of
updating.
your puppy now.
Okay.
I'll do it.
I do love how much activity Horny Jail has.
It's the new main.
It
It's
is.
the new general chat.
We're going to have to split it into different types of horny soon.
Probably. And you can only enter based on your role. No, that's not good.
Oh, you could. Well, we would probably need to do something like that if it gets more popular. You have to at least be verified that you are it yourself. You know what I mean? So you're not getting trolls that are joining it.
Watch the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, no trolls yet, but I'm ready. I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
You're ever vigilant.
I'm ever vigilant.
Once we
Who
start
watches
getting that,
the watch Riv.
once we start getting any of that, though, I can change it pretty easy
Yeah,
to make the permissions a little bit stricter.
that's good
Good,
stuff.
good.
Ooh, so what I wanted to talk a little bit more about is, since we're on the topic of misogyny, do you want to talk a little bit more about experiences and what transmisogyny looks like in particular?
Sure, I'm down for that. Can you say what transmisogyny looks like in your life?
Sure. So for me, transmisogyny seems to manifest in either people trying to be supportive and having a microaggression of treating you like you're an infant, as like an infant baby of your gender, or you don't get viewed as your original gender or the gender that you are presenting, and tell everyone that you are. So you're kind of this weird middle limbo ground. That's what I've felt most frequently, and it doesn't feel good.
It's kind of that like
it's infantilizing.
It's like when Anakin goes and sits on the Jedi Council and they like, we grant you access to the council, but you're not a master. They're like, we grant you access to women's spaces, but we don't grant you the title of actual woman.
Yeah.
I haven't encountered that very much. But that's probably because I've encountered such extreme transphobia from so many people that it's generally a lot less subtle than that.
That makes sense. I seem to mainly experience it with people that happen to know that I'm trans explicitly, and people that know me and that are acquaintances and are not close enough for me to kind of educate them. Yeah. So even if they didn't know me before, but they just happen to know that I am transgender and they've known me at least partially through my transition, then they seem to have a particular bias in that regard. That is probably they don't even know it's there, most likely. It's subconscious bias. People I meet who are like new to the company at work, for example, or people I meet, strangers in public who all genuinely don't know, and they haven't probably met a trans person before either. Even once they know I'm trans, they don't seem to make as many of those microaggressions. So that's what I got.
Wait, they don't make as many microaggressions when they find out you're trans?
If they met me and have not known me pre-transition, do not know I'm trans from the get-go.
Oh, I see.
Then when I tell them later, because I usually, when I get to know people, I end up telling them eventually, then they tend to have already have a first experience with me that in their brain is very this is the gender you say you are. And I tend not to have as many issues with those people having microaggressions or transmisogyny toward me.
That's definitely true. The people that have just known me just as me, as Marcia, it's like they forget that I'm trans, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Which is the best.
It's the best.
It's the best. I just want to be treated like a normal person. Which one of my friends said she appreciated that about me. It's like,
yeah, I definitely ran into that explaining my gender to me a lot early on. So like I said, when I started my first job as truly myself, I was super clocky back then. Like I was like 6 months into hormones. I didn't know what I was doing with really anything, let alone makeup and style.
I still don't know what I'm doing.
Could have fooled me.
But, you know, just those little things of like, oh, you're a better girl than I am, or...
Yeah, that's very eye-rolling inducing.
Exasperated sigh here.
It's like you're like saying these things to try to make me feel better, but it's actually like the worst things you could be telling me right now.
Yeah, because it's really invalidating to the whole experience. Comments like that.
Yeah. So that happened a lot early on, but as I've become more passable, I've not had that issue. Like I'm out as trans at work, but I came out after I'd been there over a month, and everybody knew me as just who I was and how I showed. And then I was like, oh, hey, it's Trans Day of Visibility, by the way.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, let's drop this in the all chat. Have fun. Have fun with your preconceptions.
Boom.
And then, yeah, so then like on my name badge since then, I have a little trans flag pin that I wear.
Cute.
And like I have to wear that everywhere. I have to wear that to the bathroom because I have to get back in. So like everywhere I go, I have a little trans flag pin on at work. And that place, I've had zero issues from anybody. Not, you know, like the hesitation before they like gender you, you know, where they'll like start and they pause just a second and then they like try to guess. Like I've not had any of that. And, you know, that's a really cool feeling. I was worried that after I came out to them that there was going to be like some stumbles, but none. Treated the same. Wild.
Hey.
That's amazing.
I had somebody come in.
I'm happy for you. That's awesome.
I had a personal victory the other day. Somebody used they, them pronouns for me without me knowing or without me having to ask them to. And I didn't have any makeup on. I was in my full like work outfit, which is like an apron and a ratty t-shirt and a baseball cap. And I could see the hesitation in his eyes. I didn't want to interrupt them. Like, what's your pronouns? And I was like, that's fine. Thank you. I use she and they. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
And it felt good.
Accidentally getting it right.
Yeah. Thank you for trying.
I had one of those experiences early transitioning at my work before I came out at work. This guy I had never seen before, like it's like truck driver, big burly dude, and he was just like I did this. I'm like, all right, thank you, have a good day. And he was like, thank you, sir, ma'am. And then he turned around and left after the because he went, sir, ma'am. And then he had to get out of there.
Okay,
it was one of the funniest things.
Here's the thing that's interesting to me is like, cis people sometimes are so like worried about offending, but it's like literally, it doesn't matter, especially if I don't know you. It's like, if you're worried about what pronouns to use, just ask. And but also I'm not the type of person that gets frustrated by those sorts of things particularly easy. I like when people get a little bit confused when they see me. Like that's a little bit fun.
Every now and then I like the confusion too. I understand that a little bit.
But I think I'm I might be a little bit more on the non-binary spectrum than a lot of trans people I know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of trans femme folks who would not, would consider it a microaggression to be called they or to be confused, but at the same time, like, if that's the goal, then baby, good job.
I think the part that was exciting to me about it was that I hadn't put any work at all into my appearance, and I still got it.
Pretty incredible.
So I felt really good about that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, when I go out in a full set of makeup and my hair's done and everything, like, I get gendered as she all the time. But that it happened in, like, my grubbiest outfit felt pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
At work, I still have one person who has known me since before transition. So everyone on my team, it still feels nice to have everyone without hesitation use she, her. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know I'm never gonna get the Faye to work.
Mm-hmm.
Faye fair is never gonna happen.
Except for in specific contexts like this.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I'm probably more able to get it to happen within the queer community than I am with a day job, which is fine. Anyway, there's still one person on my team. He's never going to listen to this. I don't feel bad talking about this. But to this day, he never has said my pronouns after I transitioned. He always just says, River. He looks at me confused and this is River every time. Like, he can't bring himself to do it. He's also the most Christian one in the entire team.
I was going to say, that sounds like a religious thing. All the Christians I know do that to me.
Did not go unnoticed.
No.
He refuses to give me hugs when he hugs other people on the team, which is fine. I don't need his hugs. But it's very noticeable. And I'm calling you the fuck out, bro. I'm calling you out.
Call him out. Do it.
He's not going to listen, which is fine.
My whole family is super religious and Christian. Like, I think I've said, I'm deconstructed and everything. So
yes,
my whole family does that to me. They'll just not use my name or my pronouns. They'll be like, hi, you. They'll still hug me, but they won't call me by name.
I get that. I know what that's like.
That's transmisogyny.
That's transmisogyny.
And it's like, no, you can just, here, let's practice. It's easy to say.
Come on, repeat after me.
Can you say Marcia? Thank you. I kind of feel like, so I live in a place where I've encountered a lot of harassment and transphobia, but I've also encountered like the best queer community that anybody could ever ask for. And I kind of feel like there's a bit of a, like, where the harassment is stronger, the community gets stronger too. I feel like there's a little bit of truth in that.
Sure.
It's like they need people more than others. So
you need support from your friends
that they
more.
Form are just bound to be stronger because that's what they have.
Yeah, exactly. There's not many of us, so you got to stick together.
Yes. Speaking of not many of us, may I interrupt with an anecdote?
I would love this.
This is the formula, remember?
Anecdote.
This is the formula. So, Chloe.
Yeah?
She was texting me today, and she was like, I was talking to a friend, and she lives on the other side of the country. I was talking to a friend, and I was like, hey, have you heard this? I know a couple of trans femmes who are in, the other side of the country, and they're, partially co-hosts on this this podcast. Have you heard of it? Transpotting. And her friend goes, oh yeah, I listened to that. Maybe it was her friend listens to it. I listened to that, but you don't actually know them, right? Like, you just know them because you listen to the podcast. And it's like, I introduced them to each other. And she tells me, it's true. All trans femmes know each other.
Oh, that
It's
kind of is
actually
true.
true.
Yeah.
It is true.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That's great.
It's really
my
fun.
God.
It made my day. I was cackling. I was like, yeah, we do. when social media exists, yeah, we fucking do.
Yeah, there's not many of us, so we got to stick together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of, have you heard the latest in trans celebrity gossip?
Ooh, I haven't.
Zoe
think
Zephyr
so.
and Aaron Reed got engaged.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
don't
did
know
see
who
that.
those people are.
Oh my God, are you living in a hole politically? Okay, so Zoe Zephyr is the courageous trans state senator, or she's a legislator.
Oh,
I can't
no,
remember.
sorry.
Is
She's
she a
legislator
representative or a
sometime.
senator?
I believe she's a
When
representative.
you
I think
said
she's a
celebrity, I
representative.
was thinking of like actors and stuff. I'm sorry. I know who
No,
Zoe
these
is,
are
yeah.
like real celebrities who make real differences.
Okay, see, that's not where my brain goes when you say celebrities. So thank you.
So
That's why I was
she's
like,
the one who got
politics, what?
censured by the Montana legislature for standing up
Yes.
against for
Yes.
trans rights.
Bunch of bullshit.
Bunch of bullshit shit. So yeah, they censored her so she can't even go into the House chamber anymore, and she has to do all of her work on a bench outside the chamber.
Yep.
That's transmisogyny.
Yeah, that's a really good example of transmisogyny, but she's a hero, so.
Mhm.
And then Erin Reed is the one who handles her Substack, Erin in the Morning. She's very active on Twitter and TikTok, and she documents all of the anti-trans legislation and policies around in the US. So if you've ever seen that map that has like, these are the safe spaces for LGBT folks or trans folks in America, and these are the dangerous ones, and here's why, she's the one who's behind that. And so they're like a celebrity power couple as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
And
No
I'm
idea
really,
that
really
they were
happy for them.
together.
Yeah.
I know both of them separately now that we're not talking about like actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea that they were an item. That's
Yeah.
really cute.
That's cute.
I knew they
amazing.
were an item, but I didn't know that they weren't engaged yet. So that's really happy. That just happened today.
That's good gossip.
Yes.
Good gossip.
That's
Good
happy
gossip.
gossip. I
That's
like
good.
that.
That's the kind of goss I like.
Yeah.
I like gossiping when it makes everybody happy.
Might be a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
I'm trying to think of what. Yeah, so there's the latest trans celebrity gossip. We need to have a musical stinger for our gossip
Yeah.
section.
But this needs to be a returning bit.
I think so.
I think you're right.
That would be something that would be fun to look into, as if there was a soundboard I could use for these sorts of things. I should find a
Yeah,
soundboard.
I was thinking that too. Like
Yes.
separating out segments, separating out topics even.
Doo 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 doo.
One day we'll be professionals at this.
But it is not today.
No.
I would say we are already professionals. We just don't know what professional was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing like ragtimey in my head, like ragtime piano playing before segments.
I like
Here we go. Here we go. She's gonna do it.
Oh, I used to know The Entertainer. There it is. I actually have it on my music right here. Oh my god.
Making it happen.
I'm not going to play that for the podcast, though. That would be awful.
No, that'd be terrible.
I'll just play it for you two in private sometime when you come over and visit.
Private.
Yeah, that's a fun song.
Yeah. Look, one day we got to record this all around a table. It'll happen.
I would love that.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
I would love that very much.
I really want this podcast to be like a thing that is the majority of the work that I do.
That would be great.
incredible.
Oh, did I tell you about the other podcast I'm thinking of starting? This is kind of off topic,
No,
but
you
one of
didn't.
my friends is really interested in doing a show about like lesser known cryptids and things like that. Spooky objects.
Beautiful.
So I might
Spooky
just get her
objects.
to explain stuff to me, and that would be an easy way to have a branch out on my podcasting styles.
Yeah.
So I thought that sounded like a pretty fun topic, though.
That's
I
right.
agree.
Yeah.
Could you maybe do a crossover event with us?
Yes. We'll talk about the strange cryptid of the
Yes.
trans tomboys.
The trans cryptids.
People say that you can find them dancing in
The
clubs.
queerest of
In the
cripples.
queerest of clubs. People say that they're rare, but they make excellent lovers.
Wow. I mean, if they're rare, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that does make sense, doesn't it? Wait, does it? Are you high or am I?
No. Here's what's happening. Is my brain does these associations, right? So it went transitive property, insert giggle here. Finding good lovers is rare. Finding cryptids is rare. Then they're the same thing.
Oh, I see what you were doing. Yes,
Then therefore, cryptids are the same thing as good lovers.
My brain does that transitive thing
It's,
too.
it's positive intersectionality here.
Ooh.
There we go.
I'm always down for some revolutionary positive intersectionality.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite thing.
That's like my bag.
Radical intersectionality. That's totally my bag, baby.
Totally.
How did you know?
How did you know?
What gave it away? Was it me telling you?
Yes.
The new thing to add to the Tinder bio.
I love positive radical intersectionality. Honestly, that is something I would put on my online dating profile.
Gotta weed out the riffraff somehow.
Yeah,
that's right.
What do you put on your online dating profiles? Or do you have one? I don't think you date, do you?
I have a partner.
Yeah. If you had a dating profile, what would you put on it?
Let's see if I'm willing to read mine.
Ooh.
I might not be willing. I don't remember. It's been a little while.
Or just say no scrubs.
No scrubs, GG, no re.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one out.
Oh, okay.
I have one on...
That is your banner image on Twitter. So
I have one on Hinge.
Plowable.
Yeah.
Sorry. One of the statements is, dating me is like, and then you can write. And I wrote, having someone in your corner.
Aw.
Look at you. So cute.
Mm-hmm.
So innocent.
So wholesome. Dating me is like getting a 7-foot dildo up your ass. No, I'm editing that out. I'm not going to say that.
And
I'm editing that out.
This has been Transpotting. This has been our final episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
We're getting canceled now.
I'm just gonna tuck and roll out of that moving vehicle.
My dating me is... I'm not gonna say that.
Oh no.
I'm
a wholesome person most of the time.
I'm not, so...
That's true.
Yeah, we know.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Why am I eating high chews? I'm recording a podcast.
You're recording a podcast.
See,
I shouldn't be eating high chews.
Here. You're the one who's stoned.
I know, right? And I didn't...
On the podcast.
From the edible that I had a few days ago, yeah.
A few days ago?
Still
in your bloodstream?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just blame everything on that.
Hormones.
That and hormones.
Keeping it there. Celeste, I'm sorry if I actually offended you.
Do you know what sound comes from the brothel?
What?
What sound comes from the brothel? Hormones.
Okay, that's what I was about to say, but I didn't want it to get it wrong.
Are we reading a Laffy Taffy joke here?
That's a little
Laffy Taffy
PG-13 for
Laffy Taffy after dark.
Could you imagine an SF for W? Laffy Taffies.
Taffy against humanity.
Taffy against humanity.
Taffy against humanity. That's so good.
That's such a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Can we sell Taffy Against Humanity and it has dirty jokes on all of the wrappers?
I'm the idea girl. That's the thing. I'm the idea girl. Just keep me around for that. That's all you need to keep me around for.
Okay, let's think of some dirty jokes for Taffy wrappers.
What a derailment. Yes, this is the episode about transmisogyny, but we also talked about dirty jokes on taffy wrappers.
That's why people like the podcast.
I mean,
Uh,
I did get a request for more dirty jokes on taffy wrappers. That's a sentence I said out loud.
Did you expect to be asked about dirty jokes on taffy wrappers today? We started.
No.
No, see, that's what's beautiful about
I
this
had an
journey
inkling.
that we've gone on. You had an inkling.
Yeah, I woke up with that whisper in my ear about it, so maybe.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I really want a taffy company now.
Marcia's taffy. The taffiest.
You could have the trans
Marcia's
colors be
dirty
one of the
taffy.
taffies.
There you go.
That could be your
course.
trans taffy.
Yeah. What you do is you have taffy that, each one is either solid white, solid blue, solid pink, and then there's only one in the bag that has all three.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the special one.
that's a special
has the
one.
golden
That has
ticket.
the dirty joke on it.
Oh,
Put me on Shark Tank. Let's go.
let's
do
go.
this.
Let's go.
Getting on Shark Tank is hard work.
Yeah, you already got to be selling a
out.
lot to get there.
I could see Marcia's device, though, being on Shark Tank.
I know I've been trying to get it on Shark
Streaming
Tank,
device.
but like I said, I'm not
Ooh.
far enough in the process.
Gotcha.
But maybe someday I'll be on Shark Tank. That would be cool.
Ooh.
That'd be cool. Don't forget all the little people you leave behind.
I won't.
I know.
Okay.
Never.
Never.
Never. The little people are the real people.
Yeah.
When you get too much money, it breaks your brain, and then you stop seeing other people as people.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's actually a documented psychological phenomenon.
I believe it.
Some people started calling it affluenza, although that actually was a term that was coined for something else. It was, he's so rich that he does stupid decisions, and somebody tried to use that as a defense in a court case, that it was a mental disorder of affluenza. Though that didn't fly, but
Good.
the term affluenza has kind of become like because once a person gets a certain amount of money, and it's kind of different for people, but they start to think of themselves as better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to get to that point. I'll give away my money first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no good. All
No,
right.
I want some high chews. And taffy.
Same.
Mm.
Dear listeners, Marcia is doing eyebrows at me.
Mm.
She knows
It's at both of us. Excuse you. Maybe she's doing it at herself.
Right at me. No, she's looking right at the camera. It could be anyone. It could be you, listeners. Oh, she's going. There they go.
Oh, you do the one eyebrow up so well. I can't do that.
I can't do it on my right side as easily.
I just can't do that.
This is the sound of eyebrows raising.
This is what we call quality podcasting content.
Jeez. Is it time for us to wrap up?
It might be.
Might be.
Well, what are you guys up to right now? Doing anything fun, exciting? On your socials, anything that you want to plug for?
Socials. Oh, okay. I'm like, she's like, hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
What's your day like?
Where can people follow you? Find more stuff that you're doing. How's the vocals coming on your new metal song?
Ooh, yeah, about that. My throat has been sore from my allergies the last month or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I did, so I've done a little bit of vocals, but it's not done yet. And so I was a bad girl and started working on a new song because shiny new thing. And so I will have I'm working on the instrumental version of a new song called Questions, which is I refer to it as a Southern Gothic angry trans metalcore bop. And,
oh, nice.
I do be loving bops.
Oh, yeah. And that's my sweet spot right there, the Southern Gothic part especially. So I'm very excited for it. It sounds really good so far. And I'm excited to get the instrumental part released and get that done, and then keep putting off more vocals because dysphoria.
Yay.
Yay.
Are you trying to sing the vocals in a feminine range or in your old voice?
I can't sing in my old voice, so I only have my femme range.
That would be, I have a hard time singing without switching back to my old mode.
Same here.
It's different. It really, my singing voice sounds very different than my speaking voice. My speaking voice is much lower register than my singing voice, and that leads to some issues, and I don't know.
Do you use falsetto, or do you try to just keep it in your chest?
I don't normally use falsetto.
Okay.
No. That was the main thing. I had I had a trainer for about maybe like 2-3 months. Actually, not like 2 months, and who worked with me on my vocals, and it was intended for, specifically for trans feminine people. And she didn't really focus on speaking. She focused on singing. So that's where I kind of learned some tips there.
Interesting.
But the prepping for it is a lot of breathing exercises, and I usually skip that. And lo and behold, I get frustrated when I can't just naturally sound the way I want to sound. Yeah, it's taking some time.
Could you send me some of those exercises, or maybe reference that person?
I can do that. I don't recommend the person, unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, I can definitely type up some of the exercises that I would do for warm-ups.
Did I tell you two, that I had a training with a vocal coach, right? It was going to be my first lesson. And then she heard my voice and was like, well, I don't really know what else to teach you. Which is like really nice that you said that, but she was like, I think that you're way past intermediate. You seem to have advanced vocal control and you sound really good. And I don't think lessons would be helpful for you. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, thanks. But then also I kind of don't feel that way personally. I feel like there's still room for improvement. Though she did say that is probably just going to take time because a lot of it is just, you have to just get used to using it.
I'd agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you sound fucking great.
You sound really great.
Oh, thank you.
You both sound great.
You sound great, Celeste.
You sound great. You sound the best.
Oh, I don't know about that.
There's no ranking here. I'm just kidding. We all sound great. We all have voice dysphoria. It's going to mess with our brains.
Yeah, the person whose voice is the best would say there's no ranking.
Yeah, it's true.
Wait, what just happened? Head empty.
Celeste, what are you up to? What can people find you on social media?
As usual, you can find me at Sapphic Celeste on Twitter and also on Blue Sky. For any of you folks on Blue Sky, I got on there. So it's also the same as my Twitter, which is at Sapphic Celeste. And I've been Twitch streaming a little bit. I've taken about a week off from that, but I will be doing that more. And I am also at Sapphic Celeste on Twitch. I announce that every time from my Twitter, and I also put something in our Discord. Psst, everyone should join our Discord.
Yeah, join our Discord. Link in the description.
Yep.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
On my Twitter, I also have a link to my OnlyFans. It is all of my old stuff. I don't have any new stuff coming up right now, but that will be changing in the semi-near future. So, if you like that kind of stuff, you know where to find it.
Wholesome content.
Wholesome content only. Yeah.
I feel like I haven't been doing very much compared to you two. I've just been struggling living through work and stuff. But yeah, you can still find me at Ono Marcy on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll maybe check into Blue Sky. I'm on Mastodon.
You got to get an invite for Blue Sky, so
How do I get one?
find someone that's there that has invites.
That would not be you?
I don't have any. I've not been given any yet.
Right on. Ooh, I forgot to actually plug my stuff. I went on a tangent because it's me.
You? Tangent?
I know. Yeah. So, hey, it's Riv. What's up, y'all? You can find my Twitter profile, Instagram profile, TikTok profile, same username, consistent branding at Cupcake Hellsword, and that's going to be with 1L. Yeah, 1L. Deal with it. And my music is under the artist name Bury the River. It is available on all of your favorite streaming services and on Bandcamp if you want to actually buy something. That would be great. Bandcamp, buy it. You actually directly donate to the artist when you do that. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks,
Okay,
bye.
thanks, bye.